Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the special live broadcast on reflecting on the life and times of the late Dr. Sam Shafishuna Nujoma. I'm joined by Nora Opolis.
Yes, indeed. We just heard the news of the death of the founding president, father of the nation, who passed away yesterday. And this announcement was given by the president, Nangolo, who was here in our studios. Now we're going to cross over to an insert depicting or showing the return of President Nujoma to Namibia when he came back from exile. The very first time that he landed on Namibian soil. As you may be aware, there was an advanced team that came from exile before Sam Nujoma came back. And this advanced team was led by the late President Hage Geingob, who then went on to put together a team, a SWAPO leadership team that would ultimately lead Namibia's election campaign. Sam Nujoma remained behind in Angola, and he was then given the go-ahead by this team that was already on the ground to return to Namibia. He returned on board an Ethiopian Airways flight, courtesy of the Ethiopian government, and it was piloted by a young Namibian pilot who had just graduated from pilot school in Ethiopia. Let's take a look.
Dr. Nahas, good morning.
Yes, morning.
Yes, Jonas Mbambo here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, we'll be speaking to you in a little bit. Just
Dr. Nahas, how are you?
Fine, Meme Nora, how are you?
Do you know who's speaking?
I think it's Bebe Nora.
Yes, it's me.
It's you, Meme. How
30
are you?
seconds, 30 seconds.
Okay,
Welcome back.
prime him, tell him. And a very good morning for those of you who are just joining us here on the on NBC television, where we are talking about the life and times of the late President Sam Nujoma, who we were informed by the President, Dr. Nangolo, that he passed away yesterday. Now, we're going to be bringing you people who knew him, people who worked with him very closely. And one of those is the former Prime Minister, Nahas Angula. But I'm going to hand over now to our colleague, Jonas Mbambo. Jonas?
Absolutely. Now, as you know, the founding president was, among a lot of things, a philanthropist as well, and he did a lot of giving back to the society through the Sam Nujoma Foundation, which was established upon his return, or rather his retirement from both Southwest African People's Organization Party, SWAPO, and the National Presidency, and registered in 2005 under the laws of the Republic as a non-profit organization. Joining us more on how the foundation was started and the legacy
for Namibian children. These are children who who fled from the Nkaprivi during the armed struggle there. They were taken to a refugee camp called Maukwaukwa in northwestern Zambia. SWAPO decided that these Namibians should form a community in Zambia, so SWAPO bought a farm near Lusaka there, and requested the Zambian government to allow it to bring those Namibians who were at Maukwaukwa to that farm. Then he asked me to establish a school for the children. It was a tough job. We didn't have resources, but somehow we managed to start something. So when the many young people left Namibia in 1975, after the collapse of the Portuguese Empire, and they came to Zambia, they found us ready to expand the school and to send them to further training and further education in other parts of the African continent. So that was the start of a long relationship. Then eventually he sent me to the United Nations to work for the United Nations Council for Namibia to advance the cause of the Namibian people at the United Nations. And that was a good experience, international experience for me. And I continued my studies there at the Columbia University in New York. In 1978, he recalled me from New York and tasked me to expand the education system within SWAPO after the passing of our comrade Linekrea Kalenga. So that was a long relationship. But the most enduring one is after April 1, 1989, when the ceasefire broke down. And Nujoma, myself, Omete Kambala, Ambassador Kambala, we were confined to Kahama town, a town in southern Angola. And I was tasked to do some kind of shuttle diplomacy between Kahama and the Rwakana to renegotiate the ceasefire. That was a very, very difficult time indeed. But eventually the ceasefire was reestablished. Then we came back to Namibia to campaign for elections. We won the elections, and he appointed me to be part of the Constituent Assembly drafting committee for the Constitution. So it was a long relationship. Of course, he was a guide, he was an inspirer, and we all benefited from his wisdom, from his leadership, from his tenacity, perseverance, his courage. And we are grateful that we had a leader in him. So we are all saddened by his passing. Though, of course, we are great that he left a legacy with us to follow. He passed us on the eve when we are supposed to celebrate the founding of our Constitution, the 9th of February, today. And perhaps that is what we can inherit from him. He bequeathed to us the Constitution, a very democratic Constitution, and Namibia should be grateful for that gift of life.
Talking about legacy, I think, many will agree that he will be remembered for the founding as well of the Sam Nujoma Foundation. But talk to us about now the philosophy behind the Sam Nujoma Foundation, and also why did he see a need to create this the foundation?
The Sam Nujoma Foundation is there to enhance the ideals of Sam Nujoma. Sam Nujoma was a Pan-Africanist, a freedom fighter, a nationalist, and his values and his ideals should resonate with all the young people of today, that out of nowhere you can emerge and become a formidable leader, like what happened to Sam Nujoma. He was just a railway worker, but he understood the need for somebody to dedicate his whole youth, his life, his adult life to the struggle for his people. And that is what Sam Nujoma Foundation is promoting, that we should rise to occasions when the need arises, that we sacrifice everything we do for the good of all of us, for the common good. And this spirit of common good is kind of fading away in our society. People are now becoming individualistic, and it is unfortunate. We should care for each other. We should think of each other. We should think of how to help each other to survive the challenges of life. That is what the spirit. That is the spirit of Sam Nujoma, and that spirit should continue to guide us as a nation.
Absolutely. As a Pan-Africanist and alongside the likes of Julius Nyerere and Kwame Nkrumah, he was also one of the many that stood up against the status quo. They didn't want to make peace with the way things were. What do you think made this gentleman and others, so unique in the way that they challenged the colonial forces? What was it about Sam Nujoma that made him say, no, this cannot continue. We will fight for our rights?
The will and the spirit of nationalism was the driving force. Patriotism was the driving force. Just imagine yourself, in the late 50s, challenging the mighty of apartheid colonial power. That was something really unimaginable at that time. But Sam Nujoma and his comrades stood up firm, and they challenged that power, and they inspired us as young people to follow in their footsteps and to reinforce their efforts. And that eventually led to the struggle to grow and for the SWAPO party to be recognized internationally as the authentic representative of the Namibian people. The beginning and the starting was not easy. It was difficult. People were harassed, people were imprisoned, and the apartheid was ruthless. But those comrades, those trailblazers, they stood firm. And until all of us could understand the imperatives to make our own contribution to the common good, that Namibia should be free and independent. And truly, on the 21st of March, 1990, Namibia became a nation.
Lastly, before we wrap up our conversation, Nahas, maybe do you have an interesting moment that nobody or very few people know about that transpired between you and the late president, if you care to share?
I don't get you.
I'm saying, is there a moment that you shared with the founding father that maybe few people do not know about that will always remain with you?
Oh, a moment. Oh, there are many moments, but the best moment I can really recall is our time at Kahama, renegotiating the ceasefire. That was a very difficult time. We were there, three of us, every morning we would wake up and try to strategize what to tell the South Africans. When my team went to Rwanda to renegotiate the ceasefire, it was a very difficult time because the world, even the best of our friends, were against us because they thought that we are the one who broke the ceasefire. And of course, we were so isolated as a SWAPO and even by our comrades in Africa and elsewhere. But we were there. We formed some kind of a comrade family that we should work hard to make sure that the ceasefire is reestablished.
Dr. Nahas, thank you so much for your time and also sharing those personal memories that you had with the late
My
founder.
condolences and my sympathy to the nation of Namibia. Let us stand together. Let us prepare to lay our hero to rest in peace, in solidarity, and in calmness. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was Dr. Nahas Angula, also known as Citizen Nahas, sharing his thoughts around the death of the former president, also some personal moments that they also had. Now, Nora, you've also known...
Yes, in fact, I was going to ask you, Jonas, you've met President Nujoma, the late president.
As a matter of fact, I did on 3 occasions. And
really?
Yes, the first occasion was when I was still in...
What impressed you most about him?
His aura. I think when you were close to him, there was just something that radiated from him. You could feel that you were next to an extraordinary being, human, but nonetheless, it was just something about him that made you feel like, wow, I'm proud that this is, my leader. But the first time I met him was in, I think, 2000. I was in primary school at that time, and he was still residing at the old State House. And we went there, and it was so nice, seeing a peacock for the first time and meeting the president of the country. The second time was when my dad was posted as the ambassador to Russia. That was also a very interesting moment. And the third and final time was when he flew over for the commemoration, the 50th anniversary of Patrice Lumumba University
in
Moscow. And the one proud moment that I had was when I was leaving campus. Traffic came to a halt, and everybody was asking, "Well, what's going on?" And then it was later revealed that it was the former founding president who had come as a special guest, and there was a motorcade. And for that moment, that's when I realized, wow, this man is a big deal. Talk to us about,
They held him in great esteem.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, when we went to university, some of them would still ask, Asem Nujoma, is your president? Asking, Asem Nujoma said the president? I said, no, he's retired now. For the past years, we fike punye pohamba. And one of the most humorous moments we'd have is like them pronouncing Dade Pohamba's name. They would say it with so much difficulties, but say, yep, just call him PH. We're fine with that. But that's our new president now. But talk to us about your moments that you've had with the late president.
Well, what can I say? There are so many. My history is very obviously closely linked to his. My father having been a founder member of OPPO and SWAPO. The first time I met him, if I remember correctly, was in the old location. And this must have been in late 1959, just before we went into exile. And he was with Jacob Kuhangwa and my father. And that's about all I remember. But I remember that very vividly because Jacob Kuhangwa would always give me a tikkie, a 3-pence tikkie, it was called in those days. So I never forgot him because of that tikkie.
What could you buy with a 3-pence tikkie at that time?
I really don't know. I knew you could buy sweets.